Hey guys, what's going on? We're gonna start coding today. Finally, we're gonna get into some code. And not just talking about code and what you should feel when you are coding. Let's code. Let's do some code. We're gonna try ReactiveX on Android, otherwise known as RxAndroid, RxJava, the whole party. Because it's famous now. You hear a lot about its benefit. It's perceived to be a little bit difficult, but it's not. So we're gonna try that. Maybe we can stumble upon something useful, because I've been trying it for the past 2 days and I've seen a lot of good results, and I thought I'd share those results with you. Maybe if we can go through this tutorial on Tuts Plus. These guys are legit. I like them. They're very comprehensive when they do tutorials. So we're gonna follow along with these people. It's gonna be dry, very dry code. No rehearsal, no nothing. Just gonna see how unprofessional and winging it approach to coding. Just make it work, try out different things. Who cares? Just, have fun. All right, let's get started. I've already started a Android project here, which you can see is amazing. All right, introduction. I know you can read, but I'll read along. Developing an Android app that has lots of network connections, user interactions, and animations often means writing code that is full of nested callbacks. You get me, partner? Alright, so such code, sometimes called callback hell, is not only lengthy and hard to understand, but also error-prone. We don't want that, no. ReactiveX offers an alternative approach that is both clear and concise to manage asynchronous tasks and events. Amazing. RxJava is a JVM implementation of ReactiveX, developed by Netflix. What do you know? And is very popular among Java developers. In this tutorial, you will learn how to use RxJava bindings for Android, otherwise known as RxAndroid, in your Android projects. Where else? To set it up, you're going to need this line. You're going to put that line in your build.gradle in the root of the project. So we're going to go here and we're going to search for RxAndroid GitHub. Now this document says that you should include also RxJava, because the line says, because RxAndroid releases are few and far between. It is recommended you also explicitly depend on RxJava's latest version for bug fixes and new features. So we're going to do just that. Now I already did that. You should do it. When you're done, we're going to start here. Basics of observers and observables. When you're working with ReactiveX, you will be using observables and observers extensively. You can think of an observable as an object that emits data and an observer as an object that consumes that data. That's amazing. You have something that throws out shit and some other thing that receives that shit. So you have some sort of small machine which you can place inside your code and it'll do things for you. We'll see what kind of things it can do later on. In RxJava and RxAndroid, observers are instances of the observer interface, naturally, and observables are interfaces of the observable class. Are instances of the observable class, sorry. I can't be left alone for a minute, I have to read everything, I don't know shit. The observable class has many static methods, called operators, to create observable objects. So we get here that the first thing you have to do is create an observable. And then you create an observer. This says that I have the ability to have someone watch me while I do my stuff. And this says I have the ability to watch something do its stuff and do something with that stuff that it produces. So you have a doer and a watcher. They have to coexist, I think. Okay, so to create an observable, I'm gonna say L so I can differentiate when I say observer, because it's tricky. It's, the observable class has many static methods. All right, that's very good. This is one of those methods, the just operator, which does Fuck all. It doesn't do anything now. It just emits one object called hello. The observable we just created will emit its data only when it has at least one observer. To create an observer, you create a class that implements the observer interface. One moment, I think. One moment. We're back. Okay, so where were we? The observable was just created. The observer interface and double named methods to handle different types of notifications it can receive from the observable. Here's an observer that can print a string emitted by the observable we created. So it has convenience methods because this is set up. It's set up to observe an observable. So naturally, it's going to have methods that have something to do with dealing with what that observable emits, which are what to do when it emits a new one, what to do when it has stopped emitting, and what to do when the observable has encountered some error while trying to emit. And there they are, on completed, on error, on next. Let's take this chunk and dump it here. So you have now my observable and my observer. Now this kind of creation is one kind of creation. There are others, you'll see. Now they are existing, but they're not working together. You have to make the observer observe the observable. It's sort of a tongue twister. To assign an observer to an observable, you should use the subscribe method, which returns a subscription object. The following code makes my observer observe my observable. Let's take this chunk and dump it here. Amazing. We are professional coders now. My subscription arises from doing my observable.subscribe my observer. Now you have your subscription. You can unsubscribe, right? So you can do this all in place, which I'll do later. It's like a builder pattern, or you can do it like this. You'll see. As soon as an observer is added to the observable, it emits the data. Therefore, if you execute the code now, you will see hello printed in Android Studio's Logcat window. You wanna bet? Let's do this. No, let's comment it out. Okay, let's comment this whole thing out. You just have an observable. And we're gonna filter for, you're not gonna see anything in the Logcat, there's not even one Logcat, but just, we're gonna launch this on Genymotion. You can launch this anywhere, it's useless. We're just gonna care about what's going on here in the Logcat. So, did it run? Okay, it ran. Nothing, of course nothing. Let's do this. Now this has Logcat. It might print out something without us knowing. How can you tell? Let's just save for future launches. Okay, nothing. Now this is some bullshit, but this is nothing. Let's just change this log tag to Rx result. Okay, we're gonna do this. Paste it here, nothing. Okay, so now we believe that it's not gonna paste anything unless they are both hooked together by means of calling subscribe on the observable and feeding it an observer object. Now you run, and you haven't done anything with the subscription variable yet. Nothing. It doesn't matter. There you go. Hello. Now you could do things to this variable, but it doesn't, you know, yeah, just the fact that you call this is taken effect already. Because you can do this. Fuck this variable. Let's just run. Hello. Again, it ran. That's all great. Now you have an observable which emits an object, and you have someone who catches that object and does something to it. Let's try one more thing. Uncompleted. Log.d rx result. No more data to emit. Run. So we're going to see hello, and then what? No more data to emit because it has completed. There you go. On error, log.d, rx result, an error has been encountered while trying to emit data. Okay, we're not going to see anything, of course. I don't know why I ran this. Let's move on. Because no error, I don't know how to cause an error. Just, you know. Anywho, you might have noticed, did you notice, that we didn't use the onCompleted and the onError methods. He didn't use them. I used them. As these methods are often left unused, you also have the option of using the action1 interface, which contains a single method named call. Okay, now what's this saying? You can either do this, the whole thing, with the observer, or you can, according to him, do this. When you pass an instance of action1 to the subscribe method, the call method is invoked whenever the observable emits data. So this new way of doing it, which is, let's just dump this code here. This new way of doing things. There we go. This new way of doing things can be passed directly to the subscribe method here. So let's try that. We're not going to pass this. No, we're just going to pass this, a new object. This is not a new object. This is an assignment statement. So we're going to do this. Let's see if he's telling the truth. Bam. You want to import? Yes, I want to import. Well, okay, it worked. Now we have this issue, right? No, this is for this. This is for that. Okay, or reset. What? This is for this. There we go. Okay. Now, what do you think this is going to do? This is going to do the same thing as the one above it. But you don't get these on error and on completed. You just get the raw action, which is what to do whenever anything is emitted. So let's try this. Rx result. And paste what we were using up here. Oh, it's also S. Let's try and change this. The result from this. Is this an anonymous inner class? Yeah, maybe. I mean this new whatever. Is this an anonymous inner class? It's an inner class. The result from this inner class action is S. All right, and we're gonna leave. You know what? We're gonna leave. Let's take out this assignment, and we're gonna leave this hooked to the same observable, but in a different way. Subscribe. We're gonna give it my observer. Okay, so we have the observer defined in this way, and we have an observer which is an action defined in this way, just the raw action of what the observer has to do. So let's run. We're gonna get one hello, which is let me just say here, the result from the first observer is okay. Let's go. I'm ready. What are we gonna see? The result from the first observer is hello, no more data to emit. The result from this inner class action is hello. So this ran, and then this ran. Well, this. Okay? This is just another way to do the same thing you did above. When you pass an instance of action1 to the subscribe method, the call method is invoked whenever the observable emits data. Subscription, my subscription is equal to my observable dot subscribe to my action1. Or you can do it like this. Let's do it the other way. We're just gonna do this. No, that's wrong. There we go. Action1 string my action is equal to this. Done. And then we do this, my action. Okay. Still gonna do the same thing, because it's just two ways of defining this action, which you then put into a variable or you just feed into the function as a new object. I mean, put into an object or you just feed it as a new instantiation. That's all great. This is what he did. To detach an observer from its observable while the observer, oh my god, while the observable is still emitting data, you can call the unsubscribe method on the subscription object. Okay, so we don't have a subscription object. We're going to create one. Subscription. So how do you write subscription? Sub1 is equal to my observable, Subscription sub2 is equal to my So what we're going to do now, how are we going to test this? While it's emitting data. Okay, we can test this. On error, on completed. Oh, you naturally do this. You can't do this here. How are we gonna test this? Now, I know you can just do this. Sub2 dot unsubscribe, fine, but I wanna try it while it's emitting data, and because you don't know yet the from operator. Okay, so we'll just introduce the from operator and we'll try what I'm trying to do. Okay? This is the same thing. The from operator. It's not the same thing. It's just, you know, it's the same type of thing. Now that this is an operator, by the way. Just is an operator, from is an operator. You're going to see more operators. Now that you know how to create observers and observables, which you do, let me show you how to use ReactiveX's operators that can create, transform, and perform other operations on observables. Let's start by creating a slightly more advanced observable. You're going to go into advanced shit now. One that emits items from an array of integer objects. My god. To do so, you have to use the from operator, which can generate an observable from arrays and lists. This, on the other hand, generated an observable from one object. Hello. That's it. So we're gonna leave this here. No, just take this out. And we're gonna get this chunk here. Let's just take this one chunk first. Okay, we got rid of the unsubscribe. Let's go here and dump this stuff here. My array observable. From integer array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Emits each item of the array one at a time. Amazing. We have something now that emits stuff one item at a time, autonomously. Does it alone. We had one that emits autonomously hello. Now we have one that emits these things. Okay? Let's do something here and say string array. And we have to change, of course, this. The type that the class of the type. You know what I'm talking about. The type of the object that we're gonna create. Now it's an array of strings, okay? We're gonna say hello, gracias, buongiorno, that's exactly nailed it. Goodbye, salam, and shalom. Yes, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Amazing. Now, on to the next. They are subscribing to this observable of observables. This mother no. This observable that emits out strings, in our case, they're subscribing to it in the same way that we just did right here. See, now they're no longer doing this, the assignment to an object, and then saying explicitly, my subscription is equal to my observable.subscribe my action. They're just doing it in place like we did here. Where did we do? We took it out probably, but we did it So we're gonna do the same. My array observable dot subscribe. Here we are. This is the see, it got you the. So you have three here. One which has the on next, one on next, on error, and on complete. So you have the same as this, the same thing. You just have a utility method of doing one without any on error and on next. One just without, one just with call. Why does it call it call here? Subscriber. Okay, let's just do this. What? No. New action one. There. Okay. Oh, it's called call. Okay. But what about why didn't it generate our method? New oh, okay. It was defining the kind of method you're gonna, this. It was defining the kind of one it should spit out for you. It's not gonna spit out the rest of it, so it's so useless. If you're not gonna spit this out for me, why tell me what kind of thing you're about to write for me? I mean, subscribe, I can write it myself. You're gonna adapt yourself to what I'm gonna write inside. That's stupid. So this is the call. We have the same call, and we have the same kind of logic that does the spitting out, which is just going to say Rx result. You got the string here, but this is not going to work later on. Let's try. So this is expecting a string, right? Because it's going to be hooked to something that spits out strings, okay? So this is all like, this is wrong and this is wrong. You'll see later. We'll say just S, okay? Here we go. When you run this code, you will see each of the numbers of the array printed one after the other. Okay, let's try. I think I'm insane. My God, it worked. Why did it work? Why did it work? It should be... Oh, no. This is a different example. Yeah, of course it's gonna work. Of course this is gonna work. Of course, this is the different example. This subscribe method, it just receives whatever that observable emits, okay? So this subscribe method is obviously waiting for a string. If we go and say this, okay? We get cannot resolve of integer, because it's expecting a string. So we have to do the following. Back to how it was. You'll see later how you can pass an array of string. This is the different example. I'm sorry. Okay, this is amazing. Hello, gracias, buongiorno, goodbye, salam, shalom. Let's try and do override. Can we do override implemented methods from here? Oh, okay. We don't have anything offered. I guess we could try. Override public. Why? Public void on next. String s. No? Okay, what was it like? Public void on next. Yeah, it's true. But I guess it doesn't get defined inside this action1 string. Action1 means action1. I think it means that you can only get one action or one parameter. Let's check it out. RxAndroid action1 class. Okay. What does this say? What do the gods have in store for us? Action 1. No, you already know this. It takes one parameter in from a string and print them. Okay, one parameter. Naturally. We're gonna see other stuff. If you're familiar with JavaScript, Ruby, or Kotlin, you might be familiar with higher order functions. Now this concept, I didn't understand it when I first was introduced to it back some years ago. I was trying to learn Lisp, couldn't fucking get anything, which can be used when working with arrays. ReactiveX has operators that can perform similar operations on observables. However, because Java 7 doesn't have lambdas and higher order functions, we'll have to do with classes that simulate lambdas. To simulate a lambda that takes one argument, you will have to create a class that implements the func1 interface. Just like action1, this is the func1. Here's how you can use the map operator, similar to just and from, to square each item of myArray observable. Okay, we're going to go back to here. We're going to create a new one. We're going to call it. Now this is all concatenating on the log. Never mind, you have enough focus to figure out which is what. myArray, myInt array observable is equal to integer no, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're gonna change this to integer. Great, now we have an int. We're gonna do what they want. See this, you see this here? It assigned it did something to this observable and returned it to the same observable. I think you can go without this. It doesn't matter, you're just running the function on the observable. Okay, you need to do this because you need to subscribe to it in the end. Okay, so this is just this map. This is just like you doing just. This whole thing that you're gonna do here, inside new, this is the needed functionality that you need to specify. It's just like just, but you need to specify it manually to tell it what it should do. This is still not observed, so it's not gonna spit out anything. You still need to observe this with a subscription by an observer to be able to get out the actual result that this guy is looping over and working on. That's why he did this, because he doesn't want to do the other part, which is ta-da, you can do this, you can change them, you can chain them. So he did this to simplify it. We're going to do the same. We have now an observable that has in place how to square a number. It takes one integer and it multiplies it by itself. This is a function being passed as a function. Next level shit, I'm telling you. This is the stuff of the stars. So this is how you do it without lambdas. This is Java 7's replacement to that, apparently. So now you have a public integer call. This is the same call as these, same one, behaves the same way. Right? It takes an integer, because you have integers being passed, and it just multiplies them together. Now why this is the way it is, input and output are both integer. Okay, this is the syntax to say the input and the output. Okay, this is how it replaces lambdas, by saying whatever I give you here is the input, whatever I give you here is the output. I'm not familiar with it, but it's pretty clear. So we still have to subscribe. No, note that you can, okay, it returns a new observable. It doesn't change the original observable. If you subscribe to myArray observable now, you will receive squares of numbers. Let's try. Oh, he's chaining them now. Array observable. Skip to dot filter. Nice. He still hasn't subscribed, you see? There's no subscription yet. He hasn't done it. See, this is the tricky part. It's left up to you to figure out that, oh, I still need to subscribe. You know, this is where you get it. So let's just do that. Dot skip, let's do just like he did. Skip to dot filter. Here, this is another function. Func1 integer boolean. This whole thing got spit out for me. This is the same thing as this lambda. It's the same thing. So we skipped to and we added a filter, which he says here, and then the filter operator, which is just like just and from and map, to ignore odd numbers. All right. How we're going to ignore odd numbers? By returning the result of integer modulus 2 is equal to 0. If it does, then this is an even number, so it'll keep it. Right? But who says if this is true, keep it, if this is false, don't? Oh, the filter. Yeah, the filter. The filter itself, it does something based on what you return. We're going to chain even more now. Now we're going to do the subscribe on the new action 1 that we are used to doing now. And we're going to say that this is not going to work. Why isn't it working? Okay, you know why it's not working? Because this is the whole thing is still being assigned to this. And what is this? This is an observable. We remember that the subscribe method returns a subscription object. You cannot place a subscription object inside an observable. Naturally, they're two different types. Required observable, found subscription. We're fucked. So we're going to do this. We're going to just do it in place. Or we can keep this and take this out, leave it as it is, and then do this. Bam, bam, done. Now it works. Or just remove this and do it where it stands. Just right on there. Pour it on. Okay. We get an integer back, which is the result of these two being multiplied, and it's going to be filtered through here, and it's going to skip the first two. So you're only going to get, so this is skipped, and this is skipped. You're not going to get this, and you're not going to get this. So you're going to get the 4 and the 6. So you're going to get 16 and the 6 times 6, 36. Log.d rx result into the result of a square is integer. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's fine. That's done. Emits 4 and 6. Run. If this works, I'm gonna light up the cigarette. Well, there you go. Okay, the fucking lighter. It worked. That's amazing. So you now have this thing that maps a function to this observable, which therefore squares the same number that you got from this observable emitting these numbers one by one, just like you did on just, you're doing on from. You square them, you skip 2, you can skip 5. You don't get anything, because the first 5, no, you get the last one. Yeah. Let's just try that. Get the last one. Okay. You cannot skip anything. You're gonna get 2, 4, 6. Run. There we go. 2, 4, 6. Which is 4, 16, 36. Moving on. Handling asynchronous jobs. This is where it's complex. The observables and the observers we created in the previous sections worked on a single thread, Android's UI thread. In this section, I will show you how to use ReactiveX to manage multiple threads and how ReactiveX solves the problem of callback hell. Assume you have a method named fetchData that can be used to fetch data from an API. Let's say it accepts a URL as its parameter and returns the contents of the response as a string. The following code snippet shows how it could be used. Obvious stuff. You assign the contents of this URL when you fetch the data from it, and you put it into content. Great. This method needs to run on its own thread, obviously, because Android does not allow network operations on the UI thread. This means you would either create an async task or a thread or a handler. This is known as a known fact. With ReactiveX, however, you have a third option that's slightly more concise. Using the subscribe on and observe on operators, you can explicitly specify which thread should run in the background job and which thread should handle the user interface updates. This is amazing. Usually in an async task, you have the do in background, you have the on post execute, which runs on the UI thread, you have the on pre execute, which runs on the UI thread, you have the on progress update, which I think runs on the UI thread. It does publish progress. Okay, so with this one, you can just say, because it's still an observer and a subscriber. So what triggers the observable to start emitting is the subscription, okay? And what happens when what triggers the subscription to take action also can be specified by saying observe on, meaning run the code of this guy on the thread that I'm telling you to run it on, okay? And make the code of this guy, which is the from, now we're going to see other operators. The from has to run on another thread. So you have this observable, which is going to do the stuff it does, and you have the subscriber, which does the stuff that it does, and this reacts to this. So you can say where this runs, and you can say where this runs. Observe on, new thread. Subscribe on new thread, it triggered what the observable has to do. Observe on main thread, it reacts to this triggering of action. It's complicated now, but you'll see it. You'll see. So we have this fetch data. This method needs to run. Following code creates a custom observable using the create operator. Not from, not just, not map, not nothing. This is the create. This is new. When you create an observable in this manner, you have to implement the observable.unsubscribe interface and control what it emits by calling the onNext, onError, onCompleted methods yourself. You have to say what happens. You can pass what happens down along the line to the subscriber. See, this is the stuff that happens. This is the stuff that happens when your observable is running. This is the stuff that handles what happens when your observable has finished running. So there are two things now. We used to do it with from, it does its thing, starts emitting data. Now we want the observable to do something new. It's not from, which is just spit out for me the 6 variables, the 6 values from this array of ints or this array of strings. No, it's not just spit out for me the word hello. No, it's something different. So we have to have our own observable. All right, this is how you do it. Same with the call. See it? You see it? But it gets passed in a subscriber, which is the value of, the variable that your guy here is going to be working with. So this subscriber, you need to call the onNext of it. So from this place, you can control what your subscribers are gonna get. That's amazing. You can say onNext, meaning on each time I'm going, because this observable is gonna do the iteration, or it's gonna run itself by itself. So there's at least one run of this thing. You can say what happens in that one run. What do I pass back to any person who is going to subscribe to me? What is my job of showing them while they observe me going about my business? You can say on next, data. You can pass it the result that you just worked on. And later you say that this whole block, this whole thing, runs on a new thread. And the subscriber runs on the main thread, because you're going to do stuff with the stuff that was passed to you. You're going to update a view like he's doing here. You're going to do all sorts of shit. So you can say that this guy runs on this thread and this guy runs back on the main thread, which is very good and lots less boilerplate than an async task and so much easier to understand. Okay, let me take a puff. And we can try this shit. Okay, so fetch from Google. Okay, we're gonna define, let's just comment this shit out. I think it's clear. If it's not, it can't be. So easy. It's not easy, it's easy-ish, right? Okay, so we don't have a fetch data. We're gonna create one. This is the onCreate. If we do this, no, wrong. If we do this, we get here. This is the onCreate. We're gonna just read it off the screen. Okay. I'm just gonna copy this shit. Oh, I have it here. Never mind. There we go. I'll take this. Do this. Now we have our get response from URL, which is gonna say fetch data. Okay. So we have this function now. What it does is gets the input, it gets the contents of the URL and start to concatenate them on a new string, and then returns the length of that string back to us. Okay, that's amazing. Let's do one. Okay, it returns it as a string. Never mind. It doesn't even matter what this does. What you're gonna do with fetch data is do your whole business logic. Parse a JSON URL, or get something from a web service, you know, and get the response and do things to it. This is just a dummy thing. It works, but it's not gonna, what you're gonna do in real life, of course. So this is fetch from Google. It creates a new observable, so we're feeding it back to an observable object. It takes an anonymous inner class. It takes a callback. You know, observable.onSubscribe. It takes a string, subscriber, string, subscriber. This is your object that you're going to call. This is whoever is going to subscribe later. You call the onError before they arrive. So when that they arrive, they know what to receive, which is coming here. This one. Okay, the observable is ready. You can use on subscribe on and observe on to specify the threads it should use and subscribe to. This subscribe on will trigger this to start doing things. Observe on is going to specify what happens. I mean, where the response of the reaction of this whole thing is going to happen. So with this, we need it on the main thread. This we need it on a new thread, so that Android won't say something like exception cannot call network on main thread. Network on main thread exception. We avoid this whole thing. So create new thread, use the UI thread. Amazing. This is how you're gonna do it. This is our friendly action one. It's the same one. Now we're gonna do actual subscribe. Now this is the stuff of stars. This is where the whole thing happens. So we're gonna say here log.d result. The resulting length of the parsing action, its literature, of google.com is S. Amazing. Okay. 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 You might still be thinking that the reactive approach isn't that drastically better than using the async task or handler classes. You are right. You don't really need reactive X. Fuck this whole thing. If you have to manage only one background job. What if you had more background jobs? You're fucked. You have more async tasks, you have to wait. It's a clusterfuck. Let's run this and see what happens. So the whole thing is commented out above. We're gonna see one number. 73914. Let's do the let's print out the actual shit. Too big. We're gonna expand it. Woo! We got all of this shit. google.com.lc.something, doesn't matter. That's why I did this. Just gonna count these, put them in string, send them back. Okay? So we get that number. So now we have a observable object, just the same as these. This is the same as this. And this. Where is it? This. These are the same ones that we've been working with. But now we've been saying that we don't want to use from, we don't want to use just, we don't want to use from. We want to do our own thing with this observable. And we don't want to use map. Okay? We're going to do .create. We're going to specify our own action, which is what you're going to be doing most of the time, I think. So this is how you do it. Now let's say, for example, that we want to say, now here we just only have one string, okay? Which is the result of what this guy spit out. Now what if we want to know where this came from? You know, I want to know what the result of this parsing, I mean, who did you parse to get me this number that you gave me just now here? Who's this guy for? Which domain did you parse? What is this? I want to know about this in here. I know I fed this guy the domain. I know what the domain is, but I want to return it back then, back down there, because I might want to paste it somewhere and some guy wants to know, and you know, you want to return it so you can use it. So we're going to do, okay, fetch data, we give it the domain, we get the result, and now we're going to do from, that's another parameter, from inside on next. We can say what on next passes through to any subscriber. We can specify. We're going to say, well, let's say it first, from Google data. This is wrong, of course. Why? Capture of superstring. No, superstring, toString. Okay. Cannot be applied. Okay. So, because this is a string, you're going to need an array of strings. So we're going to go here, 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 and here. No, we're not going to go there. And we're going to say string array. But the other one has now errored, because this too is expecting the result of the above. This is proof that this guy is waiting for that guy. So if you say above that you want to pass a string, and down there you are receiving a string, that should be consistent, because both must know that I'm expecting a string. The observable will say, I'm going to pass you a string. Now the observable says, I'm going to pass you an array of strings. But the subscriber says, oh, well, I wasn't expecting an array of strings. I was expecting just one string. Oh, well, this won't work. No, this won't do. So you have to say also here, an array of strings. This is an array of strings. Now it is perfect. But this is not going to work, because that's not how you fucking create an array of strings. New string made up of this and this. Now you have an array of strings, a new string inside this, which created a new string in place, and we pass it to this guy. Now it works. Here you're not using it still. You're printing an array. Let's see what this does. It's gonna print Java array 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 something, because that's not how you use an array. Java lang string, whatever. Okay, we're gonna say index of let's take this whole thing out. S of 0, which is from Google. The result was S of 1. Run. The result of the string, the length of the string, you know. The result from Google was 73914. Amazing. Now you passed 2 parameters to this, and it received them as 2. You can print them out, you can have fun with them. This is very good. Okay. So what if we say, let's say something here. And actually, you believe that this is working? I think this is the result is an error, because I have not specified any internet connection. So I'm going out there, I'm getting nothing, I'm getting back, and that's what's getting back. It's the error I cannot resolve or something. We're gonna go here and pass uses permission internet. Okay, now we're gonna run. We're gonna see a bigger number, I think. An error. 73929. It was smaller. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it was smaller. Okay. So what's next? So that's fetch from Google. That's 1. Okay. Now consider a scenario that you would result in complex code if you use a conventional approach. Let's say you have to fetch data from 2 or more websites in parallel and update the view only when the request has completed. If you follow the conventional approach, you would have to write lots of unnecessary code to make sure that the request is completed without errors. Consider another scenario in which you have to start a background job only after the background job has completed. Another background job has completed. Using the conventional approach, this would result in nested callbacks. With ReactiveX's approach and operators, both scenarios can be handled with very little code. For example, if you have to use fetch data, fetch contents of 2 websites. For example, note the 4 with an E, Google and Yahoo. Go, let's try that shit. Let's have 2 observables. Okay? Exact same one. We're gonna go and paste this here. See, this guy, he has 2. Never mind this line specifically, but he has 2. This is a way of how to run these requests, but he didn't mention here how to specify 2 observables. Obviously, you're gonna do this. We're gonna call it fetch from Yahoo, because maybe you want to do something else here. You want to parse Yahoo and search for naked pictures, but you want to parse Google and search for dogs. You want to do different actions. So you can't be saying like this line. I mean, this line would work. Where is this line? Sloppy. Here, this would work. You use from on an array of strings that has Google and Yahoo. Let's dump this. Wait a minute. Here we go. God damn it. Here we go. Now this would work. It has an array of strings, just like this guy. Where is it? Just like this guy, array of strings. It's gonna pump out one string after the other, and you subscribe on new thread, observe on new thread. I'll tell you why in a second. And then actually subscribe and give it the action of what it's gonna do. After it spits out these things, it's gonna fetch data. Let's shut this guy up. We run this, we're gonna get 2 numbers. No? No two numbers? Oh, this is, yeah. This is doing the fetch data which returns this number. We're not doing anything with the number. Let's do this. My God, why don't I learn another editor? So pathetic. Okay, I'm gonna get two numbers. Let's pray. There you go, two numbers. It ran one, then it ran the other. Now this works, but what if we say, now this runs on a new thread. The observable action, the result here, this runs on a new thread. Now, we don't want that. We want it to return to the main thread. Android schedulers, just as we did above here, dot main thread. All working? Yes, okay. I'm gonna remove this filter because an exception is gonna pop out now. Well, it should. There we go. Network on main thread exception. And we said, obviously, to run this guy on a new thread. Okay? But it's from. We can't have control over where from runs. No, that's wrong. This action here, yeah, you see what happened? The from action is already predefined. It doesn't have the fetch data inside it. Fetch data is inside the part where the result of the action that the observable did, which in this case is from, the result of that has an action which says go to the internet and fetch something for me. Now we're doing this on the main thread, which is here. That's why we need to specify a custom observable, which we can say what it needs to do inside it, and that's the guy that we run on a new thread. The result we work with on the main thread. So this is shit. Take this shit out. We're gonna do this shit instead. Where's that shit? Okay. So we're gonna repeat this. We're gonna dump another fetching thing, but this time from Yahoo. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Pop. Okay. Fetch data from HTTP yahoo.com. We're going to say here the same thing, Yahoo. We're going to call it fetch from Yahoo. Now we need a subscriber to that observable. Fetch from Yahoo. Dot. Let's say subscribe on schedulers dot new thread, and we say observe on the main thread, Android schedulers dot main thread dot. Now we want to specify what happens when we do this subscription. Also action 1, we're gonna have the call. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna paste this here. Okay. Strings. Now it knows. Now it's aware already when we defined it that it's gonna expect an array of strings. So it went ahead and said strings. While here it just said string s. We changed this manually and put an array here and we edited it. Now it's aware that it's a string, an array of strings. Okay, so we have these subscribers, we have these observables. Now we want to specify how we're gonna run them together. Okay? So to do that, we're gonna create another observable, which combines the two into a third observable by using the zip operator, which does fetch from both simultaneously. Amazing. I'm going to leave this commented out here. I'm going to do this. Func2. Look at this beauty. It says there's an error because it takes string, and spits out another string. While in reality, we're passing the results here as string arrays. So that won't work. Okay. What we're going to do is an array, we're going to combine them into a third array. Now, this is wrong also, because this is an array that's going to be returned from Yahoo, and this is an array that's going to be returned from Google. And a third array is going to be returned from that whole thing. And that's not how you do it. We're going to comment this out. And this is the zipped observable, the final one. Now, over here, if we create this observable, right, which combines the two, we still have to subscribe to this guy. So these subscriptions here and here are no longer in effect. I mean, they're gonna run, but this guy's gonna run too, because you're still gonna do zipped, dot subscribe on. It's the same thing because it's also an observable, right? Yeah, so you're gonna still subscribe to this guy, so we can get rid of this stuff because we're already gonna subscribe to the result of those two observables. So we don't need this. Here's subscribe on. Schedulers dot new thread dot observe on Android schedulers dot main thread dot. Now we can subscribe and say the action from all of this stuff is gonna be a string. Wrong. It's gonna be string array. This is gonna be string array. This is gonna be string array, which contains those two, and here we're gonna say this guy also string array because we're dealing with this guy now. We're dealing with this guy. So this guy is of type string array. It's gonna return an observable which has a string array inside it that it wants to emit. Okay, over here we're gonna say return new string array of. Now, what are these two arrays that we have? We have one of them that says from Yahoo and the data, and we have the other that says from Google and the data. So we're gonna say this new third array is constructed of four things. Google array of 0, which says from Google. Google array of 1, which says the result of that array. And we're going to say Yahoo array of 0 and Yahoo array of 2. No, 1, which is 2. Okay, this new array here, we say log.d. The result from, now this is going to return one array, so it's not an iterable. It's going to return one array. We already iterated here, with one, just one punch. It's not like from or it returns the whole thing. So we have one array now resulting of 4 elements. Result from S, let's just call it S, or let's Google plus Yahoo results. I'm going to do this. 0 is of 1. We're going to two of those. We're going to access the second element and the third element, the third and fourth. This should run perfectly. The result from Google is something, the result from Yahoo is something else. Amazing. You just ran 2 threads zipped, meaning one after the other, simultaneously. I'm sorry, of course, simultaneously. You can run them with concat. This is the same thing, returns an observable, but this guy emit the results one after another. The results, therefore, of this observable and that observable. Okay? It emits these one after the other. Because this was placed here, this was placed here. Okay? I don't think it's very complex at all. It's just a way of thinking. It's just a new way of thinking. I haven't thought like this before. It was really challenging. I really enjoyed the video. If you find anything complex or anything that you didn't get, or the way I sound, or how unsure I am of my information, you can just let me know. If you'd like to see more of this, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe if you like. I think Rx is the future of everything. I think everybody should be using Rx. I can't wait to find out more about this. If I find out more and find it's valuable to let you know about them, I will. I'm gonna keep learning about this. Maybe it's applications or what I'm doing wrong here. Maybe it's not efficient enough. I don't know even if this example is fucked up or not. But this guy didn't provide a full one. So I'm not gonna go through this because I haven't personally went through it yet. And that's it. See you in the next video, guys.